Welcome to our podcast. This being the 7th session in our series on worship. I had to take a bit of a break, the demands of work here and there, but we will keep going because I believe all of us continue to learn various things, even as we look at the topic on the worship ministry. I am Charity Kirigo Kagwane, and I am born again. I am a music minister, and I am also a life coach. So as we take on this session, it will be a continuation from our previous session. And once again, I would like to invite you to just follow through with the series that I've been doing on the ministry of worship. The last session, I looked at the life of a worship minister, and we looked at the spiritual part, where we were saying that, of course, a worship minister must be born again. They must be filled with the Holy Spirit. I think there's one more item that I didn't mention. They need to be baptized, water baptism, that is important. They need to be rich in the word. They need to be prayerful and, spend time and invest time in personal prayer and times of personal worship. As a worship minister, we need to be accountable. We need to have an attitude of service and, of course, learn from the Lord Jesus Christ and, learn to walk in humility. And you can go ahead and, look at that session. And I believe it will be a value addition to your ministry. And you can even go ahead and share with your friends and different ones, because we are all growing into the worship army of the Lord. So in this session, the 7th session in our series on worship, I will be looking at the life of a worship minister, but now the skills part. We looked at the spiritual part, but there's what I would call the skills part, or the physical, version of, the life of a worship minister. And there are a couple of things that I will share. And of course, you can add to the list, because I know we have all learned, different things over the years. And for me, I am sharing some of the lessons that I've learned so that we can continue to grow together. So as far as the skills part is concerned, one of the things that we must understand as worship ministers, that what we have, the art of music, is a gift. And the call to the worship ministry is a gift. It is a gift that, we have been endowed with by God. It is a gift from God. It is not something that we can boast about and say it is because I can, or it's because I have. Yes, you can, and yes, you have. But I think the starting point is recognizing that it is a gift, and a gift that each one of us had been endowed with by God, our Creator. And even as much as it is a gift, it is important to recognize that there is work that we have to put into that gift so that we can become skillful. We can sing skillfully, we can play skillfully, and because, when you do something with skill, it looks good, it's presentable, and good music is attractive to the ear. And so the first thing that as a worship minister you need to do, I need to do, is sharpen that gift. When God gives us gifts, He gives them to us when they are, I would say, in their raw state. It's like, iron ore, or like, metal in its raw state. But when you pick metal in its raw state, then it is cleaned up, it is polished, and then we get to see, the metals that we see. We get to see silver, and when it's shining and glittering. We get to see gold when it's shining and glittering. But what we don't, we often forget, is that gold has gone through a process of refining and making until it looks nice and glittery. So it's the same thing with the gift that God has endowed us with as worship ministers. We must work on it. We must sharpen it. We must educate it so that it can become skillful. We can become skillful, and so that when we stand before the Lord and when we stand before people, we sound good. Not so that we can, boast and say we sound good, but, something good is attractive. Now, so the other thing that we need to do is, as worship ministers, know the basics about music. If you are ignorant, it becomes evident. And when I have talked with, sometimes with different ones, and especially in groups, you will find that there are people who have been, who are attempting to be in the worship ministry, or who are in the worship ministry, and they know nothing about music, like zero. They don't even know the solfa notation. They don't even know the music alphabet, like what I would call the ABC of music, the C, D, E, F. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Most people don't even have an idea of what that is. And so when you tell somebody, we are in key C, or we are in key G, they have no idea what you're talking about. So I usually encourage that if you are going to be in the worship ministry, and if you're serious about growing in the worship ministry, know something about music, the basics of music. You don't have to know all the jargon and all the keys and all that, but know something basic. Know what's the music alphabet. Know what's a solfa notation, Know what's on the piano scale. Know what's a rhythm, Most of us call it a beat. But know something. Know the basics about music. It is important. Understand what are the voice dynamics. And it is not very difficult to know that, because one, you can always go on the internet and get that. But if you don't know where to go on the internet, that is why some of us are here. Learn from us and we can give you the basics on that. The other thing that I encourage most music ministers to do is be a consistent music listener. Listen to the music. Train your ear to listen to music. If you cannot train your ear to listen to music, then you cannot reproduce what you're hearing. And the interesting thing is, you find most people will hear a song and it sounds good, when you listen to it and you want to go with everything that's good about that music. But you only want to, feel the hype or feel the goodness of the music without having to listen to where is that music coming from, or what did it take for that music to become what it is. So I encourage us as music ministers, don't be ignorant. Be a consistent music listener. And when I say consistent music listener, it is not listening to the boom boom of the music. It is sitting and listening to a song, and understanding the music, understanding the rhythm, understanding the keys. What is this person playing? What's the progression in that song? It is understanding to the message that is in that song. It is understanding what is this person trying to communicate. And once you have understood that, you have felt the song, you have understood the message, you understand the rhythm, you understand the progression of the song, then now you can go ahead and begin to, sing it out. But before you do that, listen and listen and listen and listen, so that your ear becomes trained to hear. So when you hear a song, you can hear it once, twice, 3 times. You are able to sing it, not reproduce it per se as, the way the singer has done, but you're able to make sure that you bring out the song as best as possible and without distorting the message and without distorting the music and spoiling the song, if you know what I mean. The other thing I encourage worship ministers to do is practice singing daily. Learn new songs weekly, daily, and practice and practice and practice and practice and practice. I can't emphasize that. Again, most people will want to just hear a song once, twice, and get the vibe of it, and then you want to reproduce it. It doesn't come until you practice. Until you practice one song 10 times, 100 times, 10,000 times. And then it will sound good when you bring it out. So practice, 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 and more practice. Listen and listen and listen and listen. Practice and practice and practice and practice. Because they say practice makes perfect. The other thing that I encourage music ministers to do is sharpen your vocals. Work on your vocals. And it's very simple. It's not complicated. Most people think, you have to sound like the opera, I don't know, or you want to sound like so and so and so and so. You're not that person, you are you. So sharpen on what you have. Do your vocal warm-ups. Take care of your voice, If you need a voice coach, get a voice coach. Somebody who will help, who will be able to understand your voice. Somebody who will be able to tell you, I think this is what you can do with your voice. I have personally worked with at least 2 voice coaches in the past. I've worked with 2 mentors in the past. And I remember earlier in those many years, I would always be very comfortable in singing in the lower keys. And one of my teacher one time just said, Charity, you can actually do even a soprano 1. And I was surprised. But as I worked with him, I discovered that I can actually comfortably sing a soprano 1. All it took was a bit of practice and believing in myself. And he helped me through it. And if normally I am an alto, that's my comfort, voice. But if I get to a place where, we are 2, 3 altos, then I can easily break the monotony and do soprano 1, soprano 2. I can even break into a tenor. But it took time for me to be able to sharpen my voice and work with a voice coach. So if that is what it means that you do, go ahead and get a voice coach. If you can't afford a voice coach, you can go online. There are many, many people who are offering, those options online. But just sharpen your vocals. Warm up when you need to warm up. Take care of your voice. Do your voice practices every single day. For every day you do not do that practice, where you do not sharpen your vocals, it means you are not growing. But for 10, 15 minutes every day, 5, 10, 15 minutes every day, if you just spend time when you're in the bathroom, just something as simple as that, it will just keep helping your voice become better and better even as you grow. The final thing that I normally recommend to worship ministers and people who are in the ministry and are serious about this ministry, stay healthy and stay fit. And one of the simplest way and the quickest way to stay, to have a healthy voice, hydrate. Many singers don't drink water. Just simple water. Room temperature water. Don't do very hot. Don't do ice cold. Hydrate. Keep your vocals hydrated. It does so much good to your voice. 1, you will be protecting your vocals. Number 2, you will keep all the bad stuff. All the bad stuff that we eat and the bacteria that sometimes comes and forms that mucus, on your vocals. You will keep that bacteria down when you hydrate. And it's just a healthy habit, Water is a healthy habit. So stay healthy, stay fit, and most importantly, hydrate continuously throughout the day. Don't try and drink water on that days when you have a bottle of water right there with you and you keep pushing it down, and the entire week you have barely put in enough water into your system. The first instrument that we have as worship ministers is our body. And of course, our voices are in our body. So if you don't take care of this body, it's bound to misbehave when you most need it. So stay fit, eat, drink when you need to. Avoid the things that you can, the sugars, the carbonated drinks, all those things that just go against the health of your body. It's simple things. And sleep when you need to sleep. If you have to, stretch yourself doing a practice session, and probably the following day is a service, make sure that night you have a good night rest. It comes out in our voices when we stand before people. So stay healthy, take time to rest, eat well, and make water your number one friend. And of course, we avoid the bad habits, shouting, screaming, and all the things that, sometimes we do that mess up our voices. So with that, I would want to just rest it there. That is on the skills part. They look very basic things, but they go a long way in making you a better minister, a healthier minister. And when you bring out what you bring out on a Sunday morning, or when you bring out what you bring out on, during a house fellowship, wherever is it that you will minister, you will sound better, and people will begin to appreciate that music because you have worked on yourself. God bless you.